You're muted, Mal.
Professional streamers, everyone. 4 dragons preside over the 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. This we know is true.
Brie, you're muted.
I'm a professional streamer! The 4 created 20 dragons of earth and sky, and each of the 4 became part of the world.
This we
know is true.
We get it.
The dragon of spring became the wind of magic. The dragon of summer became the sun called Yor. The dragon of fall became the colors of emotion. And the dragon of winter became the moon called Badra. This
we know is true.
The 20 dragons were gifted with dominion over land and sky.
This we know
is true.
And in turn shaped the land, water, sky, and weather.
This we know is true.
Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to the Scratticus Academy. We're all pro streamers. We were all muted. We know what we're doing here. But before I hand over to Mal, please check out the links that are coming up in chat. I include the Discord. There is a what they call it, a room for this game specifically. Oh, thank you, Sphinx, who donates to everyone to have a success. So thank you so much. Also, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Hero Forge. You can head over there now and make the most detailed minis. You'll see some of them in the break. We love them so much. Do put aside the minimum of an hour, though, because you get sucked in and it's very, very addictive. Also, the wonderful Maychan Press. Maychan Press, you can now pre-order Dark Matter, which is basically D&D in space. You will have seen me and Todd run it last season over here. Yeah, I'm also running Maychan Press Dark Matter games at PAX this weekend, so if you're going, come say hi. And last but certainly not least, the Deck of Many. You can check out their Humblewood, which is one of the most wholesome and pretty books I've ever seen, and also their moving spell cards, which are just, please go and check them out. I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to hand over to Mal. Oh, hi, Mal.
Oh, hi. Am I unmuted? Good. Let's go around and introduce ourselves, and we'll start with the very lovely Bree.
I always love the Scratticus Academy. I'm always called lovely when I play. It makes me so happy. Hi, everyone. It's NPC Bree. I am playing Scout, who is a young teenager with a lot of energy and love. She is from Bluefield, where the story begins. She has never left Bluefield. She lives there with her grandmother, and she is determined to now adventure forth with her new adult companion. Because adults can take you out of the village because they are mature. Isn't that right, Alice?
I didn't take you out of the village. I took you to the boundary of the village.
I stepped out of the village, though.
That wasn't under my, I didn't, yeah. Don't tell your grandmother, for the love of God.
All right. And then we'll move on to the very lovely Todd.
Hey everybody, how are you? Just happy to be here playing once again with Scratticus with these lovely people, and just excited to get into it. That's really it. I'm playing Galaran, and I'm absolutely ignorant to what the rule set is, but we're going to do our best, because I do best when I ad-lib, I think. So, if nothing else, hopefully entertaining.
I believe in you. And then we'll go to the very lovely Anik.
Hello, my name is Anik. I will be playing Juniper, a farmer who is not actually from Bluefield. She's from Maple Ward, which is a bit north. And yeah, you'll find out about her soon enough.
Awesome, I can't wait. And then, of course, we go to the very lovely Alice.
Oh, hi, I'm Alice, and also White Rabbit Pick on Twitter, which is where you can find me. I am playing Harper, this, I suppose, mildly nervous and anxious traveling merchant. She picks up things on the way and takes them, makes them, and sells them. That's her livelihood. She used to travel with someone, but no longer has them with her anymore. Instead, she has an animal companion, Kit, this fox that sort of seems to stick to her side a lot. She wears very, very heavy long coat, which she keeps all of her bits and bobs in. You probably hear her rattling when she's coming because of the little glass vial, the bits of wood, her tools. She wears thick, heavy gloves, and very boots. So you hear her coming. She's not subtle.
I guess that just leaves the very lovely me. That's weird to say.
No, self-love is important.
If you don't love yourself, how the hell can you love anybody else?
I do love myself, but it's still awkward to say that. I'm Mal. You can find me on Twitter at Malhadale. You can find me on lots of shows here on the Academy and a few other places. And I will be the chronicler of the myth we weave in this season in our Breath of Magic game. And Alice has a very good Patreon that you should support.
Support Alice Patreon.
I forget it every damn time, and Hans isn't here to do it anymore.
I will remember every time, even if it takes me a second. Support Alice's very wonderful Patreon, everyone. Okay. So, since we have 2 players joining us for the first time today in our proper episode 1, I'm going to go ahead and give us that big lore introduction that I did last time. From time untold, the world was protected by the 4 and the 20 dragons of earth and sky. The people of Icarus flourished and were content. Seasons came and went, and the people were satisfied, but the 4 were not. So they gave the 20 dragons of earth and sky a new power. The power to create beings in their image. The power to create familiars, the Ryujin. The familiars would guide the people and record the tales of their lives and exploits, in turn giving life to the land, the sea, the sky, and the stars. For many generations, the people and the land flourished under the care of the familiars, until the Dark One came. Raffiton, the Dark One, fell from the darkness of night, sheathed in a cloak of stars, unknown to the people of Icarus. The 4 knew that this Dark One was dangerous to their world and bade the 20 and their familiars to prevent Icarus' destruction. The 1001 familiars strove to vanquish the Dark One but could not defeat it. In the end, they banished Raffiton from the world using their combined magic at great loss to their numbers. The world of Icarus breathed a sigh of relief, and the remaining familiars went back to tending the people and the world. But the tale is not yet over. So, to recap our first episode, before our first episode, where did I write my recap notes? Okay. So, Scout woke up, and she knew that it was going to be an adventure day. She could feel it in the air. And she leapt up and talked to her Mima and was all, "Mima, it's an adventure day." And her Mima very, very lovingly told her to have a good day and stay safe and all that, because when Scout decides it's an adventure day, nothing's going to stop her. She gathered up all her belongings and ran off to the bakery, I believe.
Harassed the baker, stole some treats, harassed the man who works at the store, left a note for my teacher to get out more, and changed her clothes.
Yep, stole some treats and did a couple of things, and then went to harass the man who runs the oddity store, Arthur, and then ran off to harass some goats, if I recall.
Yes.
And as Harper was, or as Scout was harassing the goats, Harper woke up at the edge of town on a hill in one of the fields, and she caught some of the farmhands discussing news in a very low tone. And going to investigate, she realized that they were discussing the crops being affected by some kind of disease or blight, and I believe we said that she'd seen that before on her travels. So something is going on in the quiet town of Bluefield, it looks like. And she decided to quickly leave the field because she didn't want to get either accidentally or purposefully connected to whatever's going on. And she ran right into Harper, or into Scout, harassing a goat.
I really tried to avoid them. Like, I tried to climb over a fence and everything, but...
Let's see. Then Scout decided that they needed to be best friends with Harper, and Harper was old enough to take Scout outside of town on an adventure, but she knew that she'd have to go talk to Mima, so she dragged Harper back to Mima's, and they had a conversation about how far they could go and all the things, and Harper promised to make sure that everything was okay and not to go too far. And I believe we left with them both having noticed the same blight in the forest outside of town. I believe that's what happened. So from there, let me lower this music just a little. Okay, so we're gonna back up a little because we have 2 new characters to introduce today. So Juniper, you wake up and it's a crisp fall day that's just that little bit of chill that lets you know that the season's changing. It's not too cold though. There's no frost or anything on the ground yet. What do you do?
Well, it depends. We talked about the fact that I'd been on the road for a few days already.
Mm-hmm.
So my first thought is, I hope everyone at home, close the barn doors and put down extra bedding for the animals because, frost is coming. And, I hope they made sure all the ducks were inside before dark. And then there's this little mental shift where I realized that I don't have to worry about this for the first time since ever. So I'll scoot Ella and Rebecca off of my blankets. They're a raccoon and a fox. And just sort of shove them off. I was staying at the inn. Get dressed in my very sensible but oddly colorful clothing. Lots of reds and yellows. And head downstairs. Animals first. So first feed the animals, make sure the donkey had breakfast, and then feed myself.
Okay. Well, the inn is also part of the bakery, so you definitely run into Hazel,
Mm-hmm.
who would have things prepared for you to eat for breakfast.
Yeah. I'll have a really tight grip on Rebecca because she's a thief. Because, raccoons. And I know that if she gets a chance, she'll steal every muffin, pretzel, other assorted baked goods that's within her reach of her tiny grabby hands. But Ella will be fine. I can trust Ella, but Rebecca's just...
Okay. And yes, Hazel definitely gives you things for your animals to eat as well. Those that aren't like out in the pens or whatever that they would have for, because so why don't we talk a little bit more about who Juniper is. You're a farmer, correct?
Yes, Juniper's a farmer. Not so much crop farming. I have small vegetable patches and herb gardens, but mainly animal raising, like less large-scale cattle ranch, more little bit of everything, animal sanctuary. Just everything that's cute and cuddly that has ever been within a mile of my farm has ended up staying. So mechanically, that means I get to travel with 3 animal companions.
And then Scout's your 4th later on.
Yeah, probably. Well, I also have 3 children, but as I told Mel, my parenting of Juniper's parenting style can only be called lovingly neglectful. There's a lot of eat your breakfast, do your chores, I'll see you after dark. I can't promise they can read, but they can deal with animals.
They'll know how to survive.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so let's see. So you definitely, you get to have a good breakfast. There's lots of leftovers for you to take for your animals, especially because Hazel probably has figured out that Rebecca steals things at this point.
Oh, she's so fat already, but I nothing but appreciation, just,
And I think as you leave the inn, Hazel's husband stands there at the desk, and he gives you a soft smile and a wave, but then when he sees Rebecca in your arms, his eyes narrow, because I'm sure something's gone missing already. That's the way it works, right?
I purposely don't check bags or pockets before I leave anywhere, because if Rebecca squirreled anything away, I can just go, I had no idea it was there. I'm full on plausible deniability.
All right. So, what brought Juniper to Bluefield this time?
Well, she wanted to go traveling because a number of travelers helped her recently. They actually saved a part of her farm from burning down. And she felt like it was her turn to go on the road and do good deeds for people and just, repay the favor, pay it forward. But she's never, she's always traveled on business, so just wandering came very foreign to her. So she just sort of decided to head off towards a town that at least she knew, and then just sort of hope something came up or helped her, guide her. She's floundering a little, so I'm just gonna go somewhere familiar and hope that leads me somewhere unfamiliar.
So you've been in Bluefield before. If Juniper didn't have anything else to do in the day while she was in Bluefield, where would she go?
I think this is where I find a deep connection to Scout, because I would have gone to pet animals. Probably would have, if I had my kids with me, drop the kids off at that amazing playground they have, go have fun, and just
the good playground.
Yeah, just leave the kids at the playground, go find the goats. When I watched the vlog, I always saw Scout doing. I was like, yep, that's where I'd be.
Okay, so you're headed to the farm, and I think we'll switch focus there for a moment. Todd, tell us about Galaran.
I envision Galaran maybe being in the area, maybe was helping out a group of adventurers who need a little more muscle, capturing some bandits who stole stuff from somebody in town here. So Galaran just wakes up that day with the job done. He'll approach the paymaster and just snap his fingers. Job's done. Hold his hand out for pay. Almost like with a sense of urgency, like a little bit of excitement that maybe these group of people he's been with the last couple of days haven't seen before.
You're handed a stack of coins, and the paymaster's just, something got you in a hurry today?
Indeed. I heard there's an old friend in town nearby. I wish to go visit her.
Well, there's your pay. We'll contact you if we need another job done.
Very well. Pleasure doing business, good sir.
Same to you.
And he'll grab his bedroll and head towards the town.
All right. I'll say that the group you were with, they were the ones to pay you, so you're not quite half a day out of town at this point when you leave. You're definitely close enough that you can see like the very top of whatever the tallest building is, probably part of the inn. But it's quite, it's a decent couple mile walk at the least. And what does Galaran think about on his walk to the town?
I envision he just takes a quick peek at some of his belongings, what he needs to refresh, maybe get this blade sharpened. And he's really just excited because he heard, he knows Harper travels a lot and she spends a lot of time in this area. So he's excited to see an old friend that he probably doesn't really have a lot of. So he's just excited to see her.
Okay. So, as Galaran's walking towards town, we'll leave him there for just a moment. We'll go back to Scout and Harper. I believe you were headed back into town with a few glances into the forest of what you had seen.
I think Harper had seen what she'd seen and very, very quickly put an arm out in front of Scout to just make sure she didn't go any further because she has a feeling this is an excitable child that will see something different and run towards it. And rests a hand on Scout's shoulder. We should go back now. And she's a nervous person anyway, when she doesn't really know what's going on, but she seems a bit more nervous than usual.
Does the forest always look like that?
No, it doesn't. In fact, it's not good that it looks like that.
With walking stick in one hand, she stiffens her body.
I tighten my grip on her
This is the adventure we were looking for, Harper.
This is an adventure for another day. And I literally just turn her around on her shoulders and look down at Kit like, come on, and start trying to move.
Kit just pulls a random scarf, just everyone yanking at this child. So tomorrow we'll figure out what's wrong with the forest.
Okay, look, there's something going on with the forest right now, and I don't know. You should. I don't know what's going on, but it's. And then she suddenly realized that she's trying to explain herself to how old are you, Scout?
14, 15.
Yeah, she's like, look, whatever it is not good. I've seen it a lot on my travels. I don't know what it is. And I don't think just you and I should wander in there to it.
You're right. We should ask Nemo.
And it wasn't part of the deal. So, when we were talking about exchanges and how you want to be a merchant and stuff like that, it's, you gotta keep up the habit.
Well, if you've seen it a lot, are you cursed?
I'd like to think I wasn't. And then suddenly you see that pass over. It's like, oh my gosh, am I cursed? Like it's a moment of
and as panic. The terror crosses your eyes, Scout's eyes get dish platter of excitement.
No.
I'm gonna clear your curse.
Stop.
Stomps her little stick.
I don't want this deal. This isn't a curse. This isn't me. I just happen to move in places where things like this has happened. Isn't that right, Kit? Back me up. And this fox is just sat there.
Fuck. Kid agrees with me. We should ask Mima.
Kit said nothing. Like, right? I sort of checks down and looks at this fox anyway. Said, look, I was fine exploring. I was fine moving about, and look, we went down to the river. I showed you how to do some of the little bits and bobs. This is a time for another day. Anyway, we said, and she sort of moves around trying to find something that can tell the time, and starts emptying her pockets of all of these things. Look at the sun. We promised your grandmother we would be back. Probably should have been moving quicker already by now.
And I think in the middle of this discussion, because it was later in the day, Galaran, you hear Harper's voice talking about these things.
You hear panic. Just like, look, we can't go into the forest, okay? I can't be responsible for that. I promised your grandmother to look after you and get you back before dark. The buttons on my coat look lovely, thank you, but I need to...
You're right.
Stressful.
Mima will know what's wrong with the forest, and then she can help us.
Well, then let's go back to Mima. And like, she's just using it as to let's go. You lead the way. I don't know the way. You should lead the way.
It's true. You
Not
just seem
all
to get...
things in the forest are bad, little Hoppa.
And Harper turns around, and there's a moment of, probably Scout will see this, almost like relief. As she's nervous around everyone, but she sees Galaran and is like, oh my gosh, and sort of probably runs towards you and gives you a big hug. I'm assuming you're much bigger than she is. And
Just average size.
yeah.
She's tiny size.
She's tiny size.
Little baby.
Let me go. Like, throw up in the air. And she gives you like what she thinks is a hearty slap on the back, but you barely feel it probably. And there's something in the woods, and this child, my friend, wants to go in there.
Do you know what's wrong with the forest?
No one knows what's wrong with the forest. And I guess Harper turns back around, like, we are not going in the forest. Even if we knew what it was, we're just staying by the boundary. Look, see the boundary. And she goes and runs her foot along where the edge of the fence was.
Would I have seen anything wrong with the forest that they're talking about, Mal, or did I come from a different direction?
I think you would have come from a different direction because the path wouldn't have cut through that section of forest, but they're still close enough. If you wanted to make a perception, you could.
I think he'll take a knee in front of Scout first. Like, you're a curious little one. What is wrong with the forest?
Stick in one hand, hand on the hip. She kind of leans forward so she can meet eye to eye. It's dark and it's spooky, and something is wrong in there. And Harper's a grown-up, so she should work harder to fix it. She's cursed.
Hey,
I'm gonna fix your curse.
I'm not cursed, damn it! Like, he's like looking over, and then like covers her mouth. It's like, I'm gonna go stand over here for a bit, and just goes and leans on the fence.
Papa, show me what's wrong with the forest from a distance, please. What are you all seeing that I am not?
Yeah, I've seen it in a few places. She sort of like takes him, like Stephen drags him over to where they stood and points out into the forest. And Mal, is it all still there? Do you want to describe what it is rather than...
Yeah, it's still there. It's... The best way I can describe it is probably... I know Alice hasn't seen it, but has everyone else seen Moana?
I've seen it, but I don't really remember it. I remember the water.
That was Moana.
One of the movies you go to see with your kids, you just fall asleep while they watch it.
It was weirdly short. Okay, so I watched it under a form of inebriation, and I remember the movie starting and then the movie ending. And it happened very quickly.
Is so good.
It was so quick. It was so like, that was it.
It's an hour and a half.
What is the
really? I need to
what's the
rewatch it.
reference to it though? I might remember what you're referring to, Mel.
So because in Moana, Tafiti lost her heart, and darkness is spreading across the islands. This whatever's going on in this forest is like that. It's black and it's essentially rotting things. Sometimes you can tell from the outside, like it'll cover the bark or the grass or whatever. Sometimes it's like if you open a fruit, the fruit looks fine from the outside, but when you open it, it's black inside.
And Harper's just like, it's just everything. It's affecting everything, and it's spreading. I don't know if it's doing it fast, but I had some farmers back in the other field, and they were saying something about it as well.
And you've seen this before?
Probably not to this extent, but it's more. I've seen glimpses of it, and I've definitely heard people talking about it. It's like I guess like a famine or a plague or a something. It's literally attacking the everything around. Scout, I know you're like eavesdropping. You can come here if you want.
Well,
This is Scout, by the way. This is Scout. I'm with what was it we're doing? Scout, we're having a what?
Adventure Day.
Yeah, we're having one of those, I think.
Well, it seems like it has found you. Perhaps you are correct, Hoppa. Perhaps we should go back. What is the hierarchy of this town?
I mean, Mima, we could ask her.
Very well. Let us go see Mima.
Okay, and she makes a lot of stew, and if you say you don't like it, she will hit you with a spoon. I've learned my lesson.
I'm pretty sure she will actually do that. Like, it just sort of looks over to her friend like, I know Mima is not the hierarchy, but I don't think there really is a huge one here.
Well, if nothing else, perhaps Mima can call together town elders of some sort, and together get some collective information of what is happening.
Oh gosh, yes. Oh, I hate drama. So starts walking back, firm hand planted back on Scout because she's worried Scout is just gonna like make a sprint and start walking. She's like, "Come on, we're going back. We're going back."
And she's
lead the way.
She's gonna look at Harper. Is that your boyfriend?
What? No. Why? Why would you say that? That's just a friend.
You didn't introduce me. I didn't know. You didn't tell me what his name was, so I've just been in my mind. He's your boyfriend.
I don't know. Stop calling him that. He sort of like leans down, like, stop. He'll introduce himself when he's ready. Okay? He travels too.
So you're an adventurer too?
Indeed.
Mima's gonna love this. Now I have 2 grown-ups who will take me into the forest. She'll definitely say yes this time.
As you start Harper, just you hear like weird muffled noises. Let's get to Mima first, shall we?
He
Let's
leans over to
get
Harper
there.
and he's like, "Are you her babysitter?"
Oh my gosh, what is wrong with both of you? Like, no, I don't. Well, I hope I'm not. Am I your babysitter? Like, looks down at Scout. Like, is that what I am?
I thought I was keeping you safe.
Delightful.
I'm just glad Harper
Yeah,
found
both
an
walking-
adultier adult.
Both of them walking out. I'm like, what is happening? Like,
Balaran's just gonna reach out, tap Harper on her head softly like a friendship thing, and be like, "It is good to see you again."
it's good to see you too. And I mean, you're used to her being nervous. The times she maybe hasn't is maybe when you've sat around like a fire and shared a meal together where she starts to calm down. But you know when maybe 2 or more people start entering a conversation with her or very strong-willed, she starts to not know what to do because she's used to only really looking after herself and Kit. So it's really good to see you too. It's been ages. But I'm not her babysitter.
We're friends. Like you 2 are. And she
Keep walking as she sort of points you in the right direction.
Always.
And as we know from our first episode, before our first episode, this path leads right back towards that farm where Harper ran into Scout originally, and where Juniper would probably be.
Probably. I mean, I've put Ella is on the donkey. Rebecca is in a little harness on a leash because freaking Rebecca. I'm just going around petting all the animals, considering which one would look good at my farm.
Hey, that lady's got weird animals.
Okay.
And kids,
okay.
which are kind of like weirder animals.
You're. Do you know what? Never mind. Don't point and call people weird. Maybe just
No.
You know. What?
Hey!
Oh god! It's just sort of Harper slumps. That massive coat almost falls off her shoulders.
I'm assuming I'm hearing some small.
And she's waving a
and-
stick around.
A minor. Oh. Hi, Rebecca. Hi.
Watch your pockets. She has a criminal on her hands.
Oh, I've got a lot of stuff to steal. Like, and she's like starts wrapping her coat round her and putting her hands in her pockets.
I'll start wandering over and just go. No, don't. Scott. Scamp.
That's the one.
Hey.
And you're named after her. Hold on. And she's like, blueberries, blackberry, juniper berries. Juniper!
Excellent. Good memory.
I hit her kid with a stick once, but I didn't know. And then she points to Rebecca as she's gesturing.
Interesting definition of kid. But yes, it was an interesting day. I'm sorry, who are your friends?
They're adventurers, because the forest is dying.
Hello.
Hi.
Adventurers. Pleasure to meet you. And she'll hold out her hand to Harper.
Harper looks incredibly awkward, but like where she's tried to keep her pockets closed away from this raccoon, then takes it with one hand. It's like, hi, yeah. Harper, and this is Kit, who sort of points down at this fox that is probably hiding behind, just having a look, not out of fear, more just having a look.
Isn't he gorgeous? I bend down to look at your fox.
Oh, he bites.
Oh, so does mine. It's cool. I'm used to it. And I point behind me where on top of a brown donkey, there is a very prissy looking white fox who has little brown spots on her nose.
We're back here on our way into town.
Because you're adventurous and the forest is dying.
Right, yeah. No, we need to check some other stuff first. With me more, and sort of points down at Scout. Yeah.
Oh, your grandmother. How is she doing?
She's doing good. She's making a pot of stew, and we're gonna ask her about the dying forest.
All right.
Do you want some stew? You know she likes when people eat it.
Sure. I mean, I do seem to recall her not minding when you invited people over at random last time, so I'm sure it's fine this time as well.
And she looks over to Harper. One time I invited an entire troop of circus folk.
This is my other friend. Like, it sort of like pulls going into like this. He was like, we're also gonna go back to this grandmother's house. Gonna go and see what's going on. So we're gonna keep moving. Yeah, you could tell Harper does not normally talk to a lot of people. She's very much a walk and go kind of person. But it's like, you know, yeah, we're gonna go. Yeah. Are you
I just
too?
sort of like go, it's fine, dear.
What's fine?
You can be a little less stressed. Just take a deep breath.
Stressed? I'm not stressed. I'm never stressed.
Do you want a piece of candy?
Galaran just starts laughing.
It's just like, because like people just don't, it's like,
Do you want some candy?
yeah, I'm like, I was told not to, like, she's like 26, 27 years old, but she, in fact, no, she's probably about 28 years old. She's like, no, I'm good, thank you.
All right. So your other friend?
Hi,
Yes.
well met. Are you from town here? Are you muted? I've gone deaf. I cannot hear you.
I can't hear you either.
What is happening? The forest has spread to my ears.
I'm not muted, am I?
No, I can hear
Now
you.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. So regarding the weird blackness in Galaran's ears, no, I'm not from this town. I'm from Mapleward.
Wonderful.
But
Yeah,
I'm looking for good deeds to do. So if the forest is dying, it sounds like something I can help with. Hopefully, maybe.
Well, then off to Meemaw's house, I suppose.
Very good.
Nothing else. I'm hungry and stew sounds good.
It's a perfectly logical place to start any adventure, I'm sure. I don't know. I've never adventured before. I'm really glad I found you guys.
Who said anything about adventuring? I'm here to sell stuff. Like,
Adventuring is a bit overrated.
I hope I never become a grown-up. She just keeps marching forward, muttering to herself about how they're so boring and they don't understand the importance of the forest and meh, meh, meh. And she's like stomping as she walks, her little boots just hitting the dry dirt.
oh, like, I know the importance of the forest. The starts again moves on after Scout, realizing she's supposed to be responsible for this child.
I just sort of should look at Galaran because he seems to be the adultiest adult out of the rest. And
I'm an adult, as I shout.
Yeah. No. I was hoping to be led on a path to good deeds, so I'm just gonna not question the universe and follow along.
He won't admit it, but I believe she is babysitting her.
That would make perfect sense.
Yes. Well, I just got off an adventure. Seems like everybody wants to go on one. Let's go see Meemaw.
Great.
And he just carries his weapon in his hand in the sheath. Just kind of sheath. He just has the sheath in his left hand and just walks with it in his hand.
Wait, you have a sword?
Okay.
I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it.
I tell you, we'll do it when we get to Meemaw's.
Meemaw has a sword.
I bet she does. Now we need to keep going. Come on.
And Scout will lead them to Meemaw's house, and she will just kind of throw the door open. I have company.
Hello again. Here she is, back, safe and sound, alive, all limbs intact. Everything's fine. It's great.
Oh, babysitting her.
Yeah. Oh God. And again, it's the realization. Yeah.
Good old Hopper. Well, hello there, Meemaw. You must be Meemaw, I assume.
There's someone else in there.
There's another person in
So
here.
you can't see Meemaw from the door, but when Scout throws it open and is just all, I have returned with company, there's a very soft, I expected that, dear. There's extra spots at the table set already.
Are you sure we're not intruding if we do that? Because you know what, I just don't want to. I'll sit down. Half walks over and sits on one of the chairs.
If I've been to Bluefield before and I've traded animals and things, would I know her name is actually Heather and not Meemaw?
I think you would actually know her name is Heather, yes.
Because then I'll just simply agree there's Miss Heather.
Oh, Juniper, it's nice to see you again.
Agreed. I hope we're not intruding. I just sort of followed.
No, it's all right. Scout, not to say this unkindly, but she finds strays often.
Well, it's a feeling I know very well. And my children find a lot of strays as well, but they're usually not people.
I'm not allowed to bring animals back to the house, though.
My children only bring animals back to the house. I've made a limit: no amphibians in the house. Amphibians stay outside.
Amphibians. Frogs?
Just amongst others, those little salamander things.
I want one for my pocket. I've got a perfect one for it. And she like pulls out like an empty little chest pocket.
I'm sure you can find one. I just mouthed to Heather.
Yeah. You can see her chuckle.
Just sort of go, why don't you hold Rebecca for a bit and, keep each other busy?
I feel like Scout and Rebecca would get into like a weird argument.
Probably. Rebecca is a little bit like Miko from Pocahontas, but sassier.
Oh yeah, definitely. Scout would be like, so what have you done recently?
She'll angrily chirp back at you while she's pawing through your pockets.
Don't get out! Stop! I was told not to.
Now that they're busy together, I believe other people had something scary to tell Heather.
Well, not so much tell as Heather, is it? Sorry, I didn't actually catch your name the first time. I only know you as Mimo. Have you heard of any strange things happening in the forest lately? Anything at all?
Strange how?
Like, like when crops die and almost like a famine, I guess, but I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's a bit awkward. I guess, like when trees and things, they get those diseases and infections on their bark and it mottles them and they don't quite grow right, or they stop flowering like that, but on everything.
What Harper is trying to say is there's an unnatural blight poisoning the forest in that direction.
What he said.
I've not heard anything about that, but it sounds serious.
Is there a collective of elders or hierarchy in this town? So people of knowledge, books, libraries, something. History professionals. Historians of any kind.
I mean, Arthur, who runs the odds and ends shop, he's probably the most learned person in the town. He probably also has the most books.
Very well. Good. Perhaps that'll be our next stop.
I mean, I would suggest maybe just asking around the town. People do talk. If other people have seen this, someone's probably told someone.
I mean, we've heard tales of this in Maple Ward, but they all sound very out there, moderately unbelievable. I mean, there's a crop blight every now and again, but nothing that does affect both fields, wheat, trees, all of it. So we just sort of ignored it. That sounds bad now that I think about it.
I've seen it, and I'll be honest, and she's sort of moves into her very interested in nature and traveling on her own kind of things. Like, I want to go and have a look at it properly. I've only sort of trying to stay out of Scout, checking on the Scout and raccoon fight going on over on the side.
Scout's biting the raccoon's ear while the raccoon's biting her arm, and they're like laying on the ground. She releases her jaw. I want to come.
Rebecca?
I want to go and look at it. I mean, I know the woods pretty well. I travel a lot. I've seen some things, but I've never seen this. I need to maybe get a closer look at it, see what it is. But at the same time, I don't want to touch it or anything like that. I don't know how. I mean, and she reaches into her pocket and she scoops out that that small like glass vial she picked up where she had that I think it was a piece of wheat that had gone black and sort of turning. It's like, this. I need more of this. I want to see what it is.
Mal, I have herbalism as a skill. Would looking at the wheat in the jar tell me anything? Other than that it's black and grotty.
I think because no one that you've heard these stories from has any explanation for what's going on, and no one's really, as far as you're aware, no one's really been able to learn what it is or like how to fix it, that I don't know that your herbalism would necessarily do much more than confirm what you already probably suspect.
Okay, so it doesn't look like bugs or mold or anything I already know. It's something new and different and weird.
Yeah, it's not anything that from your herbalism that would tell you is a natural thing.
Okay. Can I see it for a second, Harper?
Just don't take it out of the thing and just sort of hands it over to you.
I won't. I'll just look at it for a second and just go, well, I have some skill in herbs and herbalism. This looks like nothing I've ever seen.
We are definitely in need of some answers. Perhaps after stew, we can talk with Arthur, and if nothing comes of it, we can take another trip out to the forest. At the same time, perhaps Heather and Arthur can help gather the townsfolk in some sort of mass. We can come back and
do we want to start panicking people?
Well, Heather just said people are already talking out there, and we already said farmers had already seen it, so word is probably already spread.
Gathering people in a group without giving them any kind of answers tends to make them more restless and not less restless.
No, but if they're already talking about it, what I've seen in some places, the imagination goes wild and these whispers go around and they change as you go. So if anything, we could be avoiding a panic.
This brings people together in a mass so everybody's aware of what is happening. At the same time, the person who has an answer to this, if we keep it a secret, might never know. It's best to let everybody know what's going on. What if they have crops, fields, livelihood, livestock they have to look out for? Again, I think if Heather and perhaps Arthur could assist us, they're known amongst the town. One's a very learned man. Mima seems to make stew for strangers. Everybody must know them both. Right? You see, little scout, before we go on an adventure, we must have a lead, purpose. We must understand what we're doing. If we're not doing that, then we're just wandering aimlessly. Would you agree?
That makes sense. If we know what we're doing, we can fix it.
A lead, yes. That's where the adventure begins. So
the lead is finding the adventures, and then the answer, yes. Okay.
I'd have a much easier time taking Scout seriously if she didn't have a raccoon on her head.
For some reason, I think she's more serious with the raccoon.
Her red hair completely wrapped in this like the raccoon is now stuck in hair. Just see the face and the little hands like.
And Harper's like, so we need to talk to somebody, but I want to go back and I want to see this, and I want to see like how flowers close their petals at night. They stop, working effectively at night. What happens if this moves just in the day, or does it move at night? Does it slow down? We need to know everything we can about this, because I've moved from place to place. If it's spreading, it's not going to stop.
Just we go there right after eating, or should we go see Arthur first?
I think if Harper saw this in a field before, surely if we go back there, we can mark the current spread and then go back in the morning to see if it has moved beyond where it is now.
I haven't just seen it in a field. I've seen it in a field. I've seen it in a forest. I've seen it outside of this town.
I mean, for just a general experiment for during the night.
Al, are we eating it, or is soup in front of us yet?
No, we're eating
Okay,
and talking.
Mima is
Mima
powerful.
totally serves while you're talking. Yeah.
Yeah, like Harper's shoveling like big chunks of potatoes. Where it's like, I mean, you never seem to know what it's gonna do. I kind of want to see it with my own eyes. You don't know if this is like a creature doing this or
A creature?
Don't get excited. Like you don't. I mean, I don't know what it is.
Begin the
It's
adventure,
like-
Scout.
like, is it something to do with plants? Is it something to do with animals? Is it something in the air? Like I need to see it. Because if I see it,
I beg your pardon, Heather. Is there a town medic of some kind?
Yeah, Scout.
Scout,
Yeah.
you're the town medic.
Yeah.
Well then, little Scout, has there been any reports of people being poisoned, blights on their skin, rashes, unnatural boils and pots and arms falling off and limbs and blood and gush?
I mean, I don't think so. Mima, besides cooties, there hasn't been, and she like kind of like moves the raccoon off her, and she's like going through like all these like papers of like town people. Mima's my manager. She's smarter than me.
This would be something recently.
Mel?
No, Scout, there's been no
what does
There's
your
been-
manager say?
there's been no talk of people being poisoned or anything like that.
Minus
Just
old
that
Gretchen
cootie
and her-
outbreak that Scout decided was a thing.
Right. Besides the cootie outbreak, and Miss Marjorie, who thinks that everyone is poisoning her.
Now, Scout, is the cootie outbreak fine, or do I need a vaccination for it?
Well, actually, as a
You hear
grown up,
a bang as Harper's head hits the table.
and she sits there and she like kind of taps a pen to her chin. As a grown up, you should be safe, but as
And I'm a knocker.
but as a boy, you might be naturally dispositioned to being a carrier.
I am indeed a boy.
I always tell my children that you can avoid getting cooties by finishing your plate of food.
I'm already done.
Mm.
Then
Then
you
you're
should
safe.
be fine.
And you
Very
see,
well.
as you say that, Scout writes a little note down on her like cootie outbreak page. Eating all of your food? ? Circle.
Let us assume it is safe to say I'm inoculated from the cooties.
Very good.
He looks at Harper. It's like she's 5.
Like Harper's just like moving the spoon around the bowl, and this like piece of potato. It's just like, other than the cootie, she actually knows her stuff. She sewed these buttons on for me, and I can't sew buttons.
Well, it looks like we
Scoops
have a
up
plan.
potato.
We want to talk to some townsfolk, starting with Often. We want to see the forest up close, mark off where it's going. In the morning, perhaps if we don't have answers, return to see if there's some sort of spread. Does that sound right to everybody?
I'd say it's good.
Excellent. Well, whenever you're ready.
Yeah,
Let-
yeah. And you just hit the scraping of the bowl as like Harper quickly tries to finish up the last of it.
Probably hear a loud crash as Rebecca falls out of a cupboard somewhere. Heather, I'm so sorry. I will replace what she ate. And I just want to check with you again. Are you all right with Scout going with us?
She's gonna do what she wants. It's better if you're with to keep an eye on her than if she just sneaks off. So
Besides, if this causes plagues and blisters and boils and causes limbs to fall off, and she reaches down and grabs this little wooden box and she kind of starts like clipping it to the side of this belt. I need to be ready to cure it.
Excellent. I feel better already.
How old does Scout look?
Scout is very tall. Well, Scout is Harper's size, like in height. She's very thin. And though you can kind of start seeing like the teenage age hit her face, she has a very kind of innocent looking face. Very sheltered, very kind of like
Nothing bad's happened to you yet.
Right, like you can tell that she's capable of functioning, like keeping herself alive, but not knowing how the world works well enough to really survive in it.
Heather, you know that adventuring is dangerous.
You have a sword. And I have a stick. And she picks up the walking stick.
In all of my adventures, I have never been paid to protect a child.
You don't need to protect me.
Oh, are we supposed to pay you?
No,
I've
not
got
at
nothing.
all. Not at all. That's not what I'm saying. The thing is that the world is dangerous already. Adventuring is fun, and we've had a good laugh at it, but there are bigger dangers out there that Scout needs to be aware of if we're really going to venture forth as a group.
I know. That's how my mom and dad died.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay. I will be a stronger adventurer because of it. She stomps her little stick on the ground, and her like little jaw kind of juts out a little bit.
He looks over to Heather and he's just like, are you sure it's safe for her to come? You're aware of the worst case scenarios in this endeavor?
Like I said, she'll follow you if I don't let her go. She's very strong, headstrong that way.
But when the time and action comes, will she also listen? Can she be guided?
Scout, what are the rules on Adventure Day?
Scout, I have to listen. I have to be aware. No eating nuts. Yes, I will listen. I will behave. Okay? I've stopped.
Only when it's relevant.
As if for some sort of like acknowledgement. Yes, this is okay. Something. He just looks to her because he's completely lost right now.
Scout turns to Galarin and looks very seriously. I have stopped more people from dying than you probably have. I know what dying looks like.
Forgive me, I didn't mean to insult you.
And she taps her little medical kit. I will be strong. I will be strong, and I will listen.
I have one more addition to this as a requirement. Mainly because it's why I survived one of my adventures. If one of us say run, you run. There's no what if, but hang on, you run.
Okay.
And there's a weird calmness sort of over Harper at the moment as she probably thinks back at something. But it's like, then I'm fine with her coming.
Juniper making little notes about the rules for adventuring.
Yeah, no eating nuts is her, like, one of the top rules of the family. Scout is allergic to nuts.
I see. You see Juniper going, I wonder if I'm allowed to run. Figure it out.
Okay. Then
I did miss what we decided on the first step being. Was it gathering people or was it going to look for black spotted creepy things?
we're gonna go chat to Arthur, I believe.
Oh, he's the one with the wonderful shop here.
Wonderful's a word, yes.
Well, it always seems to have everything I need. And a lot of things I don't need.
Right.
Okay.
And as Harper stands up, you hear the scrape of the chair on the floor as she tries to heave her coat back on.
And I think as Harper stands, Mima's got little wrapped, like all the extra food is wrapped up to take for
We're
everyone.
getting little bento boxes for on the road. That's amazing.
And Scout needs to eat because she's still growing, so she's got extra food.
I think Harper sort of opens up her massive satchel, gives a smile and a nod, and starts loading it all in to this satchel to carry.
Mima, always packing snacks.
I'll just put mine in my backpack, and if anything's too heavy for anyone, I do have some room on Ryu, my donkey. He's very strong, much stronger than I am. I'll use my my fox Ella. She's actual scarf. I just sort of drape the fox to go there, and she tucks in.
Juniper, are your kids coming with us?
Oh no, I left them behind at the farm with their dad and grandparents.
Good, we don't want to have to watch any kids.
I was about to say agreed, but they don't take a lot of watching. To be fair, I don't see them for large parts of the day.
Very good. And she like kind of looks at Rebecca.
Yes, I do need you two to make a truce. Shake hands.
Like Harper's looking at this scene as she's like loading back all of her bags, all of her coats back on and big scarves. Like, I'm gonna go talk to Arthur. Scout, you coming?
Always.
And she sort of opens the front door and does that weird sort of sweet bow, almost for you to lead the way.
She'll walk to the doorway and turn around. Mima, I love you. But today is the first day of the rest of my life, and I am going to save the forest.
Harper just looks back into the room at the rest of the time.
You can see Juniper rolling her eyes going, oh, God.
At that point, Galaran was just sitting at the table still looking at his empty bowl and kind of comes to. Like he kind of like comes to and sees everybody leaving and gets up and thank you, Miss Heather. It was delightful food. Thank you for your hospitality. And we'll head out with them.
Come on, Scout, time to save the world. And starts like, puts both her hands on her shoulder and turns around to...
And it's like one of those like kind of heel drag things because she's still in her like weird little pose. She kind of holds her pose as you kind of like push her out and like soft wooden floor kind of just scrapes under her boots.
I think
you just see, yeah, you can just see Juniper realizing that one day all of her kids are going to be teenagers as well. And she's going to live in one house with all of them. It's okay. Maybe I can learn from dealing with this guy.
Harper very much realizes that Scout's probably what she was like when she was a bit younger, so is not learning how to deal with it, but is coming to a realization and slowly becoming more comfortable with it. It's like, right, okay, to Arthur's. Time to go. Come on, lead the way. She sort of points Scout in the right direction.
And you start heading towards Arthur's. And Scout, where's Mima's house in relation? Is it like near the? It's not out by the farms, but is it like?
It's what I'm kind of imagining is probably like a few set of like the longest lasting homes, because this is like kind of a small farm home, only really kind of designed like with not more like the most basic of amenities. There's probably like a handful of these very old small houses kind of just right outside of like where the shops are, like probably like the path behind the main street, like a neighborhood of like 4 or 5 houses.
So it's pretty central, is what you're saying? Because most of the shops would be like on whatever the main area is. Yeah, so you step outside, and it's not that long of a walk to Arthur's. His shop is just on the other side of the rest of the shops. The bakery's on the way. And as you're going, you hear a commotion from past Arthur's shop, and you see a couple of children run by, and following them is a couple of eggs with feet, and behind them is a couple of farmers, and they run through the town. These eggs chasing these children, and the farmers chasing these eggs.
Harper, would Harper have seen anything like this before, or is this normal? It's like,
And do they sound like they're stressed about being chased, or like they're happy about being chased?
It's hard to tell with the kids, but the adults are definitely chasing the eggs with the intent that this is not okay.
Okay.
Do they have like pitchforks in their hand or any kind of weapons or anything?
Yep.
Rakes?
Yep.
Yeah, and tar and
there's like
feathers
there's a pitchfork and a hoe, and and I don't know, Juniper might not have ever come across this because she, even in her travels, she probably hasn't traveled quite as much as Harper or even Galaran. But Harper, you've heard tales of this monster, this walking egg, and Galaran, you've probably fought them before.
I want one.
Harper's
All
literally.
right.
Oh
I'll
my
just
God,
want
they're
one.
I'll
real.
charge the eggs then. If I've seen them before and I know that they're bad, I'll just charge the eggs.
Yeah, Harper's just like, oh, they are real. Wow.
Kind of drop my scabbard on the way and draw the sword as I'm running. Drop
Sword!
Wait, Galaran like it sort of starts running off after you as you chase these eggs.
Juniper, I want
Judging by
one.
their reactions, apparently this is not a good thing. So I'll grab my little light blade and I don't know. How many were there? How many eggs?
I'll say
Four
3.
eggs, right? 3 eggs. Okay.
And then if Scrat's ready, because I pinged him in the Zoom chat before we start this combat, we'll take our 5-minute break. But I don't know if he's ready because he didn't answer me. So
It gives me 5 minutes to find out what Juniper does in combat because I'm not a combat character.
Oh, very
Cool.
good.
All right. So there are eggs with feet running through town. Galaron at least has decided, you know what? We're going to charge them. So let's see if I can find my combat music before we get this going. Is it this one? Nope. I can already tell. Is it this one? Nope.
This is the biggest fucking mood.
Yeah.
Right now, I picture you like Willy Wonka trying to open the gate with the keys. This is it.
Hang on a second.
There it is.
This was my entire experience through Hells and Back. I was like, demon sounds scary, demon sounds ominous, demon sounds combat. Which one did I pick?
This is the one.
Ooh, I like it.
All right. So the way this works is everyone, you're all going to roll initiative. It's your dex and int. I would guess because the sheet's got almost everything ready to go, you just have to click on it.
Hang on, where is...
It'll be in stats, I think.
I was going to say, I'm looking for it in stats.
You said dex and intelligence?
Or
what is it?
checks.
Checks.
Initiative, yeah. Dex and intel. 1, 2,
Oh, yeah.
3, 4, 5. Fifth one down on the left, guys, for common check.
It's the
Or seven.
very bottom.
Ah, there it is. I see.
We roll that now?
Yes.
Okay.
Tax team, Scout and Hopper.
Ugh. It says you wanted to send this result.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Okay. Are there supposed to be any numbers where all these zeros are at or no?
I haven't.
No, don't worry about that.
Um,
Don't worry.
Everything's fine. Don't worry about that. None of this matters.
That's like
That's
special
spicy
extra
No, we're good.
bonus thing. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe most of you have advantages and other things you want to spend as well. Let me check the screen quick. It looks like you all have an automatic success, and then Anik and Alice have an advantage, and I have an advantage I can use or gift. I'll go ahead and give that to Todd. I'll give Todd that advantage that I was gifted right away.
So you can re-roll and pick the higher number.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
or
Well,
you can hold on to it if you want to.
Oh, that's
I
right.
ran off, but I dropped my sword on the way, I guess.
That's okay.
Oh, shit.
Scout picked it up. Don't worry.
All right, so where's my PDF? So many, I feel like I need a third screen now. All right, the eggs go first, it looks like. The way this works in Ryutama is all of you come up with objects that are in the... It's very Final Fantasy is the best way I can explain it, especially because that's how Scrat explained it to me when I played. You're essentially arrayed in a line on two sides, the enemies on one side and you on the other, and you get to decide, each of you decides on an object that there is that can be utilized for a bonus, and then when we move into the action phase, you can take a single action. You can use a move to switch from the back or the front. You can cast a spell as long as the casting time is normal. You can assess the situation, which lets you reroll initiative. You can use defense or you can attack. So, we'll just go around, and I know that
Picturing
it's...
us all lined up with our little hold animations,
Yep.
waiting our turn.
And we'll just go around in order, so that makes Bree first. Bree, what's an object or item or something that can be utilized in this combat?
Because we've just kind of crossed over to the village square area, and we're headed towards the shop, which we kind of describe as like past the bakery, and that's where like the inn is. I would assume that on the ground there are like things to the side of the road, because this is a very farming area, like buckets or shovels or things like that. So I'm going to say that there are buckets on the ground.
Okay. I'll write that down in the notes. And then we'll go to Todd. Todd, what's something lying around or in the area that can be utilized in some fashion?
Oh, I would say my sword in my hand, no?
Well, that's your weapon, but
Right.
there's items just like it's like an item that might have been left on the ground or like terrain that can be used for an advantage or
Yeah,
just
there's
anything
a
like
cart.
that.
There's like a cart that was abandoned once these chickens came in, and I'm gonna utilize that as like a jumping catapult.
Okay. And the thing is like anyone can use any object, but once it's used, it's only good for one use. And then we go to Anik.
So town square, bunch of eggs, bunch of screaming children, and there's objects, not. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's it could be like something you could pick up and use as a weapon or as a distraction or
it's after dinner and it's mid-autumn, so I think there's some form of lantern that people can use to light their way as they're traveling through the village to help you see what's going on.
Okay. And then like you could also I like that lantern. I hope someone uses it. But you can also say like, oh, there's this, a wall right here that someone could brace themselves off of or do this off of, like
or jump through.
Yeah.
Or
someone could bust through a wall if they want to. Anyway, that brings us to Alice then. Alice, what's another object?
Harper would have just definitely been sprinting and she would have spied like whether it's outside the bakery or outside one of the stalls, one of those like triangle wooden signs that have either the list of what's fresh in the bakery that day or what's going on, and she's literally like, yes, I want that. And she's running.
Yeah, I forget what that's called, but I'll write something down. All right, and then
an easel, right? It's an easel.
Something like that.
An A-frame sign, and that's what it is. And then, you know what? I'll say one of the farmers tripped and dropped their pitchfork, so that's lying around to be picked up. Okay. And then our initiative that I'm still trying to since Alice and Bree have the same initiative, I'll just let you decide which one of you wants to go first.
Do you want to go first, Bree?
Fuck it.
That seems very scout, so.
All right. You ready for this, DM?
Well, so the eggs actually go before the group.
Oh no.
I was just trying to, because you and Alice had the same initiative. I wanted to see when that time comes who's gonna go. Sorry for the confusion.
You're more than fine. I'm gonna get my shit
children.
Okay. So many tabs. All right, so it looks like the eggs stop chasing the children when the group of you get involved, and we'll go ahead and the first egg is going to attack Todd.
A bad chicken.
Galaran. Here's the thing. It's a large egg, and it's got human legs or human-like legs out of the.
I hate it.
I love it.
I hate it.
And it attacks. How does this? Yeah, okay. This is now we're gonna learn how crunchy this game is or is not based on this.
Like egg crunching an egg.
Sure.
We have Zelda Android in chat talking about
I was
how
gonna
bad
say
she wants to
like how Zelda wants to crunch a raw egg for charity streams.
Yep, we love you so much, Zelda.
Wondering if you break one, if there's yolk inside or like a tiny person, or
maybe we'll find out. Okay. So, weapon accuracy versus target's initiative is how this works. 2d8 is what I'm apparently going to roll. I believe that's gonna hit based on Galaran's initiative.
So you said initiative would be Dex and Intelligence, so a total of 12, right? It says current 6.
No, it's what you rolled.
It's what you rolled.
Oh.
It's a 3 and a
Because
natural
you got a
1
4
you rolled.
initiative. Yeah.
Great, because I have an initiative of 2, so everything can hit me.
All right.
Oh, and then there's something for getting ones, because let me.
Does Snake Eyes get me bonus points?
Yeah, there's a thing for getting ones. You get
The universe pities you.
Come on, PDF, please don't lag on me. This is why learning games is fun, right?
It's good.
I mean, we get to listen to the nice music that I picked.
Alice, I just saw what you put in the Zoom chat. Eggs with legs. I mean, realistically, if eggs don't have legs, do birds have legs? So whatever hatches out of this will have legs, or do the eggs go to the eggs get the legs, the birds don't? How does this work?
No, my concern was that you thought birds in real life didn't have legs to begin with. That was my query.
Sentence. Like, I wasn't thinking.
I get a fumble point, and the party gets a fumble point, according to Scrat, who actually read the rules at some point.
Don't listen to him. He didn't read the rules.
Someone read them to
him.
He listened to an audiobook.
He didn't read the rules, but he's also not wrong.
So I have a fumble point, and the party has a fumble point, and they can be a +1 to a check. And he does admit to not reading the rules now.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay.
Okay. You get a fumble point for each one, Scrat. If I roll double ones, do I get 2 fumble points? How does this work?
Technically, all of us have a 1 in our thing.
Oh, they stack. I have 2 fumble points.
Technically, even Alice and I have fumble points. We had a nat 6 and a nat 1.
So, but then for your ones, the party also gets fumble points. So the party has 4 fumble points.
Yep.
At some point, the word fumble point is going to lose all meaning to me.
Fumble point.
You get a fumble point, and they stack so that you can have multiple fumble points. The player gets a fumble point. The party gets a fumble point. There are so many fumble points right now.
Everybody gets a fumble point. It's like an Oprah show. And you get a fumble point, and you get a fumble point.
Mine's showing 0 fumble points.
You have 30 fumble points.
So yeah, if you roll and get a fumble point with your 1, you'd go into your character sheet and you can mark off how many fumble points you have.
Where's that?
It's in your checks at the very top left.
So we have a total of so everyone has a 1 in their fumble points. So that's 4. But because Annie got 2, it's 5 fumble points, right?
I think so. Yes, let's go with that.
5 fumble points.
Everybody has that, so I should write 5 in there?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, so like each of you, Anik's got 2 fumble points. Each of you has 1 fumble point, and then there's 5 more for the party to use. Yeah.
And what do they do?
You can use them to get +1s on your actions.
Okay. All right. What happens when I get hit by the chicken egg?
The 12 will hit you. The damage is D6, so I'll roll that now that we're done figuring out fumble points and all that. You will take 2 damage to your HP.
So mark that down to 10 then. Sorry, so that 12. Got it. Oh, whoopsie. Okay.
All right, and since we're just learning this and I want to speed it up a little, we'll say that that's all 3 eggs going at the same time. So like this group of, it's, oh god, why can't Execute in Pokemon where it's a bundle of eggs.
Bundle of babies.
Yeah, it's like that. Like these 3 eggs are all a single, they launch themselves at Galaran. Yes, and we should all thank Scrat for explaining stuff to us. Thank you, Scrat. And then that puts us in initiative to Bree to Scout.
Hello, it is I, Scout. I want to. I would like to attempt to capture one of these creatures with a bucket.
Okay. So the bucket will give you a +1. I'll say that still we'll just roll it like it's an attack. So the bucket's a +1. You have lots of fumble points to use if you want to add more to it.
Dearest DM,
Yes.
I'm going to use my automatic success.
Okay.
I want to crit this roll.
Okay. So the way we'll work this out is you do succeed because you spent the auto success. The bucket does enough damage to take out one of the eggs.
I just want to be like laying on the.
Right, but you've captured it, but for the way, to keep things a little more simple, the way it's out of combat now. You defeated it with your auto success.
All right, I'm gonna lay here on this bucket if anyone needs me. I got one.
And then that brings us to Harper's turn.
Harper is just panicking. She's seen these things attack her friend. She's seen Scout jump on one of them. She's running past and grabbing that shop sign, and as she does with two hands, she's just bringing it up and trying to swing it into this thing.
Okay.
Question, where do I roll attack? Or is it
I think it would be in checks, like where your weapon is.
Yeah, I'm in checks, but hang on. Is it like hard exercise or hang on.
Proper ostrich egg.
So I think it's an inventory underneath your weapons.
Yeah, that's what I'm just
It says
trying
accuracy,
to...
I think, right?
No, yeah, accuracy I think
Yeah.
is to hit. Damage is how much damage you do.
Okay, hang on. So I'll roll accuracy and then did it roll? Doesn't seem to be rolling for me, which is interesting.
Roll 20 does lag a little sometime.
Hang on. Oh,
There you
okay,
go.
it brought
All of
up
them.
3.
Yeah,
It brought up
see.
3. It's the first one.
Well, at least it's not the fumble.
That's an egregious level of fumbling. It's like yelling. You have fumbled. Fumble. Point.
So yeah, I got a 6.
Okay. A 6 is not quite enough to hit, but you do still have group fumble points, and so the sign gave you a +1, which I'm assuming what that +1 that you have added was for.
No, that's standard.
Okay, so the sign gave you a +1 for that, so that's 7.
Okay.
You have a fumble point on your thing that you could spend if you want to get you to 8.
I'll use that for 8.
And then the group has 5 fumble points, so you could get yourself to 9 to have a successful hit if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
And then I need to roll damage, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So 3. Yeah, I run up and I try and literally crack this egg as I swing this sign to it.
All right, yeah. So you pick up the 8 sign and you just rush up and you swing, and I'm gonna, that's like a full body swing around, I'm guessing, because this sign's probably heavy.
Yeah, she's throwing her
and
whole
you-
self into it.
Yeah, the sign collides with this eggshell, and you just hear this loud crunch, and bits go flying. And when you pull the sign back, there's no legs on the egg anymore, and all that's lying there is a mess of yolk and eggshell.
Like, she sort of just drops the sign, like, realizing what she's done.
And that brings us to Galaran.
So I'm going to attack you with the sword there. And it says I have 3 weapon masteries, and they're all in the same blade. What does that mean?
I'm not
So weapon
sure.
mastery
Let
blade,
me.
bonus weaponry blade, bonus weaponry from noble class blade. Plus 3 attack and damage, maybe? That's what Strat suggested.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That's a good suggestion.
Okay. So you click accuracy. All right. Boom. I have an 8.
Okay. Was that including the +3 that Scrat suggested?
Because I put it in there. I rolled a 2,
Put it in there.
2, and then, yeah.
Okay. So you do have your personal fumble point, which would get you to 9, which is all you need.
Okay, we'll do that.
And then you roll your damage.
9.
Okay. Yeah. So what kind of sword is Galaran wielding?
This one-handed / two-handed sword.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, and they break my window.
Let the winner in.
Well, don't do that.
Welcome
Winter's
to the
coming.
snow.
Yeah. So how do you attack this eggshell?
I would imagine that I swing this like a baseball bat and smack it with the flat of the blade so it explodes.
Okay. So you draw your sword and you swing like a baseball player, and much like Harper in the sign, this egg you hear this crunch as the shell shatters, and in a cloud of magic or something, all that's left when you pull the sword back is eggshell and goop inside.
Does it get on anybody in the party?
It's me, isn't it?
Does it splatter on debris by any chance?
Scout's laying on the whole ground.
Just covered.
Yeah, we'll say it splatters Harper, or not Harper. Sorry, Scout. It totally, because Scout dove in with this bucket into the group of eggs. So yeah, Scout is splattered with egg.
Huh. Well then.
That leg also has no legs anymore. No. It's just shell.
Galran's gonna look at the farmers and be like, "What did your children do?"
How have they angered the eggs?
So what are you hatching here? Do you sell them?
All right, and so all of the eggs have been defeated. So you know what that means,
Apart from the one under the bucket.
right? But we're counting it as defeated.
Okay.
You defeated your first combat. I figured you'd like that. So, you have 2 smashed eggs and 1 egg in a bucket.
I look at the farmers. I actually ask them, "What did your children do?"
They did nothing.
Right. It's very common for eggs with legs to be chasing small children throughout the town. I get it.
While he's questioning farmers, can I just walk over to Bree? I have a spell that makes constricting briar bushes. Can I just sort of more securely wrap that runaround egg in something other than a bucket and a tiny teenager?
Sure.
Okay, just keep.
I mean,
keep
I guess
by all means,
if
keep
Scout
questioning
will
the
let
farmers,
you.
but I kind of just want to make sure this thing doesn't run off again, and just sort of keep it.
I mean, I guess it's more up to Scout if she'll let you do that, because otherwise she's kind of in the way.
Oh no,
I'm sure Scout's been in briar thorns before.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sort of wrap her in
And
there.
honestly, witches excite her, so anytime anyone does magic, she's like, wah!
Yeah, I do a little bit of magic to keep that egg from chasing more people and running off with
Juniper, you're a witch and you
Scout
never told
on
me!
a bucket. I didn't tell you a lot of things, and you never asked.
Oh, it's true.
Sorry, Galarin was questioning people. I just wanted to keep the egg and Scout here. Because I can just picture the bucket with Scout on it going.
Yeah. So the farmers, they're just like that. They didn't do anything. You know, I mean, we don't get a lot of monsters, but it's not like the countryside doesn't have monsters. I mean, you're a mercenary by the look at you. You've obviously fought things.
Where did those eggs come from?
Outside of town somewhere. The kids were playing and they ran back screaming, being followed by these things.
Are they a little boy, little girl? What are they?
Yeah, it's a couple of boys and girls.
Children, come here for a second. I'm going to wave them over and take a knee. Put my sword back away. Show me where you were playing when the eggs attacked you.
The oldest boy, who's still very young, younger than Scout, looks to the farmer who must be his parent and is just given permission, and they lead you back to the edge of town where the river stops you from going to the forest, which is where Scout and Harper were earlier.
And I point towards where the blight is. They came from that direction.
The youngest child, a girl, shakes her head, and then the older boy, no, they were in the field right over here by the bank.
All right. Are all your friends accounted for? Is everybody here?
Yes.
All right. Well, I would avoid the edge of town for a little bit if I were you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Where were we going? Authors?
Harper's like readjusting the sign she used correctly. It's like, I'm sorry. Like just trying to like wipe the egg off of it and sort of putting it back up. Sort of giving a smile to the shopkeeper, whoever it was. Maybe it was Arthur's.
I feel like Arthur he doesn't bother with signs. It's probably the bakeries, honestly.
And we've agreed that the lady baker is scary, so good luck with that.
If anything, Hopper is like hiding, like trying to put it back up and then very, very quickly move away, straighten it, put it back. Probably goes over to her friend and is just like, what did the kids say? Did they come from, you know?
One says it came from out there, one says it just happened to be in the field. In either case, it's safe just to, like the farmer said, monsters attack. It was either random or it was caused by the forest. But I'm sure word has spread that it's not safe to play outside of town. What are we going to do about the one that Bree jumped on top of?
I was going to say, I'm going to stand over Bree and go, Scout. And sorry, I can't even remember my own kids' names, let alone yours.
Sorry, she changed her name above, so I'm reading.
Yeah.
So sorry. I'll go back to Scout.
What are we
but seriously,
Juniper.
Juniper has 3 kids that all look alike, so she's like a 33.3% chance she's got the good one. Fumble queen.
I spelled fumble wrong.
Fumble is better.
Keep it that way. That's fine. I'm just gonna sort of, after I cast the briars, and watch Rebecca climber all over you to lick up all the egg splatter. So are we keeping this? Does it need a leash? Does it need a hutch? Does it need straw? Is it potty trained? Scout, do you have a name for it? Where are you gonna put it? When are you gonna feed it? You are responsible for walking this.
It was just trying to murder children. Perhaps taking it as a pet is not the best idea.
A lot of people keep pets that can murder people. Dogs can murder people. Foxes can murder
Scout
people.
just points at Rebecca.
Rebecca, no, well, I don't know if she can.
I just want to. I want to add while this conversation's going on. You have this bucket wrapped in briar, and you see like the bottom half of this egg with these two legs just trying to run.
Okay, so clearly we need a leash of some sort.
Want to leash an egg?
And Scout like starts like she's got like 6 scarves on, and she's like unwinding the widest one.
Mal, Galaran draws his sword and just stabs the egg in the back.
Oh!
Okay. The egg stops running. It's shattered.
I don't know if I'm crying or if Juniper's crying.
First lesson on adventuring. If it's trying to kill you, it needs to go away.
And as Scout's slowly wrapping her scarf, she has a very serious face.
Or we take it as a hostage if it can talk and be useful.
I'm not sure I want to adventure with you.
I just want to let you know, sir. She says as she's like going through the motions of slowly wrapping the scarf. And as she kind of tucks it in to her little coat pockets and she like kind of straightens out and looks to him. A real adventurer wouldn't be afraid with an egg with legs. She picks up her little stick. It's not my fault, and I'm not going to bandage your boo-boos.
Well, I can see you're doing well at listening right off the rip. Congratulations.
And she looks at it.
She listened perfectly fine to me.
Can we go talk to Arthur now? As Harper looks mildly panicked in between. Just like, I'm gonna go talk to Arthur. Kit, come on.
I'm gonna put my arm around Scout in like a briefly egg parent loss support group, and just follow Harper.
Scout's giving Galaran the that kind of like anime stare thing where like both are glaring and like you can see like the lightning bolts like meeting in the middle as they're just disagreeing over the fact that there was a magical egg with legs.
Galaran's not glaring at you. He's kind of just like, again, it was trying to kill children and it tried to kill me. So.
How are they going to kill the children? They're eggs with legs.
Juniper, with all respect, perhaps teaching Bree, our new adventurer, that killing our enemies is a bad thing is not the best way to go about this.
And I'm just saying that maybe we don't need to kill everything we meet.
Or anything we meet.
Well, something like in nature, things die. But it doesn't mean we need to be the one to kill them.
Well, perhaps you should find a different adventure than going to stop the blight in the forest.
Do we have to murder the blight?
You hear a ding as Harper opens the bell at the door of Arthur's shop, like, "Good morning!" As it sort of walks in.
Yeah,
no, I'm sticking with Scout. She understands.
Just be happy I didn't name him yet.
One day.
Did you actually name him though?
No, she didn't name him yet.
I mean, you didn't get to say it out loud, but
yeah, I was gonna name him Timothy.
I was thinking about how you can harness an egg even though it's round.
Could you imagine his good kicks? Oh my god, soccer with an egg!
Oh my god, it would be amazing. Never mind.
Galaran needs to play soccer with an egg now.
It's Galaran, not Galaran.
Galaran!
I'm just gonna go follow, like, keep my arm around Scout, turn her away from the angry man with the big sword, and follow Harper into the store.
All right. So, Harper, you enter Arthur's odds and ends store. You see the stacks of everything much taller than you are. and you enter, and it's in the evening, and you enter and go, "Good morning."
Yeah, she's out of it now. Like it's just she's on a mild panic that there's a blight. She's just had to fight an egg, and she's like, Arthur, hi. It's been a whale of a time out there. So I had a few questions. If I could ask them.
Oh, what kind of voice does Arthur have, I wonder?
He old. What is an old voice to you?
Yeah, I picture him sounding like the old dude from Up.
Oh, I can't do that voice. That'd be great.
I
I
love
think he
him.
used to sound like Charlie Murphy.
Who's that?
I have no idea who that is.
I don't think I can do that either.
What's on that was outside?
Oh, okay, do Christopher Walken.
Oh,
Do Christopher Walken.
No, that'd be Scrat. We need Scrat to do Christopher Walken.
There was an egg.
I was just gonna say, break the monopoly. Break the monopoly.
So, let me see. Where are my notes for Arthur? What do I know about Arthur? He runs the shop. He's old. It says I have that he's a little old man. So I'm imagining, like.
And he shuffles around.
and his son and his son's husband are big and strong, and they come and help carry heavy things.
And he has one photo of his late wife at the front of the store, because he misses her.
So yeah, so I'm imagining, I forget what cartoon it's from, but there's a little old man. He's got a bigger nose and these huge glasses that make his eyes look gigantic. And Harper asks the question, asks to talk to him, and he's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, what? Can I help you?
Yeah. I was told that you are a man who knows things, and I want to know if you know about the knowings of what's going on. So the basically there's a forest out there, which I'm sure you know. Any bad things that have happened, like a blight, or like like with the crops. I heard there's crops dying in the field over, yonder. So I was just I was curious if you'd heard anything, because you're a great listener.
He looks at you and blinks for a second. He's just like, I'm sorry, what? Can you repeat that? I didn't.
What she's trying to say is there's an unnatural blight happening on the forest up that way that's destroying the forest.
I feel this is a usual thing for these two.
It was word for word what he said to Heather earlier.
It's just like, yeah, what my friend said.
I don't know. A blight?
How about any history books, Arthur? Do you have any history books of famine, disease, times of war, times when the evil presence revealed itself before the dragons? What happened?
I mean, yes. There's books about. There's books from the legend of when the Dark One came.
Right. And what was the land like when the Dark One came?
One second. I'll go find it. And he shuffles down the aisles, and you hear somehow much deeper in the store than how fast he walks, this clattering as he starts digging through things. And you swear that, like, if the aisle goes so far, you hear him over here, and then you don't hear anything, and then you hear him somewhere on the other end of the store somehow.
Love this store.
And then you hear a couple more, just, you're not sure if it's Arthur or what, but there's a couple other like shuffling and sounds of things being moved. And Arthur shuffles back up with this large tome in his hands.
Before anyone accuses anyone of anything, the shuffling was not Rebecca, she's with me.
And,
I'm tempted to make an option to see if she is with you.
I used to say, I think she's with Annie.
we'll say Rebecca's with you. That's fine.
Thank God.
Harper's made like grabby hands towards this book because she likes things
So
like
is Rebecca.
Yeah, and I think it's big for Arthur, and he brings it up to the front, and there's just poof as it lands on his desk, and he probably hasn't. He dusts, but he probably doesn't dust as well as he should. So there's this small cloud that comes out. And he says, "Well, there you go. You can take a look." He gives you a price if you decide you want to buy it, because everything in his store is for sale.
So what is this thing about the darkness or whatever it is you were saying? You know, like a blurb, like an over, you know. Yeah.
What's the best way to explain it? When the Dark One fell from the stars, and it caused a lot of problems for our world, and that's when the dragons got involved and the familiars that help us out, and they banished it, the Dark One.
So, wait. So this actually happened?
I mean, that's what the legends say.
So as she pauses, as you see her really think really hard to try and construct a sentence, not pulling on real life things in any way whatsoever. So something bad fell from the sky, and you think that's happening again?
I don't know. I'm just he was asking for history books, and this is the closest thing I have.
Papa, I'm trying to find a connection to anything that might be causing this. So I'm starting back from great evils and working our way forward. We have no place to start, and perhaps when the Dark One came, blights on the land were a known thing. So it'd be written somewhere if that was the case, I would assume.
Well, this kind of sounds like something like that.
Well, I just start opening the book. No one's opened the book yet. Start reading it.
No one's opened it up.
Yeah,
I thought he opened.
I'm gonna start perusing through the book. I know he said buy it. I was like, yeah, all right. This is the book we're looking for. So are there pictures in this book at all, or are they just all?
Oh yeah, like it's it's that God, what's the. It's the giant tome where it's got the huge full page picture before anything's written, and then like the top of each page has that fancy letter in the square before the rest of the writing happens. Like, yeah, it's super old and fancy.
So I'm gonna start going through it carefully, and I'm gonna look for any pictures of land, any title words that say blight, land, agriculture, anything, farming, anything like that, to try to give me a clue to stop on that page and read it.
Harper's doing that weird lean over, like as you're flipping through it, trying to have a look, like, that makes sense. Like, as you're going.
Okay.
Scout, do you have a suggestion?
No, actually, I wanted to say, while this is happening, Scout the Fumple Queen wanted to go back to where all the old, farmers' almanacs are, and wants to do some research there as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, can we go back to, their version of Agricultural Monthly and see if there's anything written about this previously?
Okay.
We're looking for the
Split the party.
Farmers' Almanac, please.
Yeah.
Okay, let me make sure I get all this down.
Poor DM.
No, it's fine. It's
throwing
everyone's got
stuff
stuff they want to do.
We're all perusing for clues to blight on land / how to.
We're literally, come on, gang, let's split up and look for clues.
Basically, everyone has their own little aisle with.
What I really picture is
stuff
all running around
at.
in circles and
Through all the doors.
I already saw that this place
Now
doesn't really
describe
do
it like as a
dimensions.
montage with Scooby-Doo music.
People holding books going, I found nothing, and then diving back into their row.
Yeah, I'm imagining at least with Scout and Juniper, because they are looking at other books, that there's like stacks of stuff and they're just, I didn't find anything. Okay, let's check this one. And Bree, you're muted.
Yeah, I realized. I think it becomes a thing where like they just keep opening up books and like laying them out. So they have like an aisle full of books where they're kind of stepping over the books and kind of flipping pages and what
We're
about that?
destroying this guy's shop in short, just so you know, Mal.
I mean, this isn't the first.
Let's be honest,
shop's
this is normally
pretty-
what it looks like.
Yeah, the shop's pretty messy. So I'm gonna change music to some nice like investigatory mystery music, assuming I labeled it correctly.
We're just making
Yeah,
the
that
shop
works.
look better. At some point, Rebecca comes waddling up, holding a magazine, going,
Got like a bunch of squirrels in it.
probably.
I think
Okay.
Harper's just looking on all the shelves, like just to see if there's anything else. Like probably every now and then if something breaks, she'll be like,
So, Juniper, as you're looking for these books, you realize that Rebecca has wandered off.
Why did it make my raccoon a kleptomaniac?
And you spot her eating something,
book.
and
Halfway
like
through the chapter we needed.
she's probably there's not a whole lot to eat in this building that is actually food, so you know it's probably not okay. And
Becca, spit it out.
as you approach her, you notice that she sprouted a rat's tail.
That's not well. Rebecca, sit very, very still. And it's gonna sort of pick her up. Admire the tail. Ooh, creepy. And look at the remains of what she was eating.
It might have been a book.
Arthur.
Yes.
Slight mishap. This furry thing ate this not furry thing, and now the tail is all wrong.
Oh dear. That's Let me go check. I think I might know something. Let me go check. I'll go find a book, and I'll get back to you. Feel free to keep looking around. I see you're all very interested. Remember, everything's for sale.
Yep,
And then
fascinating.
he shuffles off again. Okay,
I
so
just
now
turn
we're gonna
Rebecca
do.
towards me and just gonna go. This is what you get, and just.
This is
I'm
what
just gonna
happens
put her
when you
in-
eat candy in Willy Wonka's shop.
Exactly. I'm gonna put her back in her harness, like the little 5-point no escaping, and just. You earned this. You did this to yourself. No pity. Oh, you
Okay.
good little raccoon as you are.
Uh,
Don't stay mad at her. She's too cute, even with the rat tail.
So, Galaran, you were looking specifically for anything in the giant tome that somehow connected to what's going on. I'm gonna say the only reference you find that seems at all similar is there's a little footnote on the page where it talks about when the Dark One first fell and what happened to the land surrounding that impact. And it could be the same, but it's not enough information with this one blurb to really you think it might be connected, but it's not enough information to really make it a concrete connection.
Harpa.
Oh, yeah. You can see Kit is sort of draped almost round her shoulders so that she could get higher up. It's like, yeah. What?
read this here. And the dark one fell.
She sort of turns the book round to herself and sort of reads it out. But you think this could be it? Or at least a metaphor for it?
I don't know. Rip the page out. We were gonna buy the page.
You can't rip a book. Like, she immediately closes it and like holds it away from you.
What? No, I thought he said everything was for sale.
Yeah, don't rip a book. And she takes like pulls money out of her pocket and slams it on the counter. And says, "What have I told you about that?
You're going to buy the whole book. We don't need it. We just need the one page.
I like the whole book. You don't rip a book.
Oh, well, let me help you then buy it.
I'm fine. I've got but you see like in the pocket there's like a button with like loads of coins, like some coins and stuff, and what looks like a plant is like pushed onto the counter. Just like, that's fine. I wanted it anyway. Don't tear the book.
Okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought everything was.
No. It's okay. I get you're efficient, and I get the efficiency thing. It's just I'm very aware I'm not efficient, but I like my books.
My mistake.
It's all good. We should go find the others though, and tell them what this is, whatever this is.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. Thanks, Arthur. Like, sort of like shouts out the back. It's like coins on the desk. Sort of keeps.
We're buying the big book and all of it, not just one page.
Yeah, we're not ripping the book. Like, it's sort of like heads out.
Okay.
Where are our friends at?
So,
is this like
Scout.
a tome? Did you say?
Yes,
This is like
it's
a tome. Yeah, like
big.
It's like, oh my God.
Scout, you and Juniper were looking for like farmers' almanacs type things. You find it doesn't have a date on it anymore. It's so old. But you find God, what's the word I want? You find a record of one of the first instances of when the wheat was blue. And you also find comment about how every and then a little further in the book you find a remark about how every so many years something comes and they have to adjust whose fields are where and move. The worst case was they moved a whole like homestead because of what happened.
And
it seemed
that's not the regular, if you plant potatoes one year, you have to plant corn the other year to avoid exhausting the soil.
Right, it's not that.
Okay, it's more than that.
Yep.
And it's so old it doesn't have a date.
Yep.
Scout. We have a clue, like a real one.
Do we need to
I
keep...
showed a picture.
Okay. Is it stealing if you just write down what it says?
Probably
No,
not.
I have an idea. And she'll pull out like this little leather journal and she'll write down everything that was like in that blurb. And then she'll pull a domino out of her pocket, like an old domino that looks almost like it's made of like a very nice wood, and she'll just kind of walk up and set it next to the coin.
Yeah. Arthur, about the rat tail.
And he finally is shuffling back, and he's got like a hand, like an armload of papers that he's trying to read and walk at the same time. I don't know what happened, but I think it'll go away on its own.
That is good enough for me.
In like a day.
That's fine.
Or more.
Perfect.
Maybe a week tops.
Also good.
How many tails can one raccoon have?
Just the one, but it's a wrong one.
How many can they have?
I don't know. Maybe we should let Rebecca loose in the store and find out.
No, please don't damage any more property.
No, it was just a joke. I'm joking with the child. I'm very sorry. There, Rebecca.
Arthur, do you have any blank tomes that can be written in, as in keeping a journal?
Do you need a journal, Galaran?
No, he needs. Yeah.
I was
Your
actually
diary.
going to buy it for you so you could take notes on adventuring. Everyone.
She has one in her hand. She shakes it. But I have another one, and she pulls it out. But I'm selling it for 1 gold.
Well, there's no need for me to buy it from you and then give it back to you. We already have it.
Arthur takes a coin from the desk that Harper paid, and he hands it to Scout. I'll take it.
Do we owe you anything for the book that the...
Oh my God, Scout, you're such a merchant.
And
I
then,
know.
not knowing that, Scout's trying to learn to be a merchant from Harper, Arthur then turns and looks back at Galler and says, I have a journal for you. It's 1 gold.
And Scout's just holding the coin in one hand and just staring at Harper like...
Harper's got that just sort of...
and then she turns to Juniper.
You're doing it, kid!
She's looking at both of the
Yeah, no, Juniper's all like...
Arthur, do we owe you anything for the book that the raccoon ate?
Rebecca already paid with her tail.
Somehow I don't think that's sufficient payment.
Metaphorical.
Arthur looks at the pile of coins on the desk and the domino and, and then he's got the journal in his hand. Well, if you don't want this, we'll call it even.
That works.
Harper, you have the tome? All
And
pages
she's
and
there,
caps?
and uh-huh. Is this right? Just see her head over the top.
Yeah, Juniper's just very carefully not mentioning that you just wrote down what we found in that.
Right, I have...
Let us go compare notes.
Okay. And you see Harper go to the door, and it's that stalks of as if you're gonna go out the front, and then decides to go sideways and slide out of the door.
I look at Galaran and just sort of go, shouldn't you be carrying the big...
You just say, I am an independent woman!
Who don't need no man!
When it comes time, I will, but Harper loves books.
Harper will fight.
I just wanted 1 page. I didn't know I couldn't buy the 1 page.
You can't buy a page?
Apparently not.
Oh, we
Scouts
just
just
wrote down what we found.
What?
Scout opens up the page and just points. I just wrote it down and left him a domino.
Oh, then you paid for it.
Yeah, but not the whole book.
Well, you didn't use the whole book, correct?
Are we using the whole book Harper has? That thing is enormous.
Maybe we can use it for kindling.
Please
Oh,
stay.
true.
I swear I will fight all of you. You hear this just shouting from outside the shop.
Look,
Stay
if
focused.
all else fails, Rebecca will eat it.
Juniper, this young girl is adventuring with us. We're trying to teach her right and wrong, such as bad to steal, best to pay for things you use. You used and you copied down a phrase from a book. You made payment. Fair enough. That's all I'm trying to get to the point of. Harper seems to just want the giant tome of information of history.
You see her walk past the other way through the door.
She's practically ecstatic. I mean, look at her. She could keep it together. She could barely keep it together. She's so excited.
She does seem thrilled.
Well then, show them the scripture, the passage we found.
Yeah, and Harper does that sort of, probably takes it outside, and she's very much used to sitting on the ground, sits on the ground, slaps it down, opens it up, and is like, here, it's here, read it.
I'll flop down next to you. I have no issues with sitting on the ground.
Scout, may I read what you wrote down?
Oh yeah, we also found something. I'll share it with Harper as well.
She'll
Share in
offer her
circle.
journal.
So Mal, I think it's safe to assume we all read each other's notes and give us the gist of what we found.
We have this happy little sharing circle. We're all
Yep.
reading each other's stuff. And Rebecca, I don't know if Harper and Galaran would think it's weird. Galaran would think it's weird that my raccoon has a rat's tail, or if that's a normal thing in this world. But I just started keeping her.
We just saw an egg with legs, so I don't think it's
Anything is possible.
I will be watching you if you do not try to murder Rebecca just because she has a rat's tail and occasionally
Wait.
bites children.
Wait, did something change in that raccoon?
baby.
Halloran.
Wait, Rebecca, run! I'll hold them back.
Yes, you can all share your information and catch everyone up on what you've discovered.
Yeah, it's just like, see, it's really, and not only that, we don't know what else could be in this book. There could be so much more in here.
I think I missed a part of what Scout had written down, Juniper and Scout's passage. Could you share that with me, please?
Yeah, what was that?
Let's see. They found the first mention of like when the wheat became blue and that became a thing, and then they found a couple of mentions of similar things to what you've started seeing, the worst of which was bad enough that they had to move a whole homestead like out of an area to salvage what they could.
And time frame wise, how long ago did the wheat start turning blue? Is it, we're talking like before people were born? Is it
it's like no one in town would have memory of it not being blue. It's like long, like hundreds and hundreds of years or longer back.
Does it seem like it lines up when the Dark One arrived?
It's after the war would have ended. Because like the war, whatever the war was, enveloped enough of the world in it that like records from before the war are pretty rare. It's all kind of myth and legend now. So the fact that there was, even though the almanac that they found didn't have a date, it has to be from after the war.
Well, I don't think we're any closer to solving if it was same as the time of the Dark One or when there's war and being spread.
Well, it's interesting that they managed to avoid apparent ruin and disaster by moving a homestead, which suggests it doesn't spread entirely uncontrollably.
Right.
Because nothing says that they did something to stop it. You're not, well, everything was terrible and we moved this homestead and then we were okay. So,
but if it's not stopped, you can only move so many times before there's no safe place to move. Would you agree?
No, I agree. Which is why I'm wondering how moving one homestead was enough to solve it for Bluefield. Or if there was something happening in the background they were unaware of. Someone else did something.
I think it's time for a closer look, as you suggested.
And Harper's still in this book, and she's like, and dragons! There's something about dragons! What is that? Amazing. Is that a real thing? Is this a what is that? And like, are there drawings of these dragons or anything like that? Yeah, yep. She's sort of looking at them. She pulls out this tiny little book she has and starts sketching just a rough idea down.
Don't put too much faith in the entries written about dragons and familiars. Don't put too much stock in their involvement to help.
Familiars are real.
They're real.
If witches are real.
Their reputation far exceeds their capabilities of
I should Scout, at some point we're going to have a conversation about your using the word witch, because that's the whole thing, and I know you don't know any better, but we'll deal with it.
What's wrong with the word witch? As Harper sort of looks over. And what's wrong with familiars?
Well, not everyone who does magic is a witch, and not all witches can do actual magic.
What?
Again, it's a thing. We'll deal with it later.
Speaking of, and she sits down and pulls out her little box, and she looks at the party and opens up the little box and gets a little tincture out. Galaran, this is a truce. No more killing my eggs.
Galaran, for the last time, please.
Galaran.
I don't call you Skip, do I?
Skip. Fine. Galaran. Galaran? Galaran. Drink it. Drink it. Just drink it.
I drink it. Thank you.
Very good.
Well, let us, I think we're going to adventure out of town now. Go take a closer look at this disease spreading in the forest.
Yes.
I
And
know
you're
I'd
back to
like
full
to have a
health.
look. I know I'd like to have a look. And there's a moment where she takes the massive book, and you see that she attaches it to her back with these belts that she has sort of crossing over, and with
Sure,
the
you don't just
satchel
want to
over
put it
the
on
side.
my donkey. He's
What?
very
No.
reliable with carrying things.
Great with carrying things, but your donkey's going to be closer to your raccoon, no offense.
My raccoon cannot carry that book even if she tries.
Oh, I think they're going to eat it. I don't think they're going to carry it.
Rebecca learned her a lesson. Look at her tail.
Nah. Harper starts moving and starts walking towards the forest again, sort of hitching it up over on her back.
Mal, in any of my belongings, so I have some sort of like water wrap or something I would cover myself if it rained or something. Some sort of like something.
Yeah, you can have a cloak.
All right, so I'll just take the cloak and give it to Harper and say, protect it from the elements.
Thanks. And starts like wrapping it around it, folding it in like a big like picnic sack type
Now it
thing.
looks like a baby.
It's just
a
like
big
Juniper.
square baby.
Yeah, Juniper's just looking at you, going, "Yeah, my kids also always want to be like, yeah, I can do this." I don't know. The tome was like as heavy as Harper, or how bad was it?
It's probably pretty heavy.
She carries everything on her. All of her possessions are on her, so she's probably used to carrying
Fine.
stuff.
Perfectly fine. I'm just gonna put Ella on Ryu because I'm not carrying a raccoon.
And I think Harper starts walking back towards the forest, just in that general.
What time is it now? What time is it right now?
It's probably gotten dark at this point because you stopped off at Mima's for stew, and that was probably dinner time. And then who knows? Like, it probably took a while in Arthur's actually to search through everything, especially like even with his help, he's slow. So it's probably dark.
Do we want to rest for the evening and go in the morning, or do we want to go now?
Harper wants to know if it moved at night or not, so I assume we have to go look at it at night if we want to know if it moves at night. That was one of your big questions, right? If it, like, with the flowers closing their petals, if it stops spreading.
Well, things don't. I'm just interested,
It wasn't
We're not going to have a
judgment.
lot of time.
I'm trying to clarify.
Oh no! She's like, I just want to see like the how it moves at night, and because nothing stops, nothing, and she's sort of like addressing the whole group, like, because you never know what's going to happen. What if it
grab
jumps?
the lantern that I believe
was going to be thrown at someone.
Juniper had seen during the fight with the eggs, and walk towards the edge of town like we're going to leave and go look at the forest.
Galaran, remember we're teaching Scout we shouldn't steal. I think that lantern belongs to Bluefield.
We'll return it when it's done.
Can I touch your sword for a second?
Why?
And because I'm going to make it so Bluefield can keep its lantern.
There are literally hundreds of lanterns in this town.
Really? Were there hundreds of lanterns, Mal?
That's what he says. He puts the lantern back. Sorry, I cannot borrow your lantern. And he'll hold his sword out for Juniper.
I'm going to cast Crystal Light on your sword, and it's just going to give off white light, similar to the glow of a lantern for the next 12 hours.
Wonderful.
There you go. Don't need a lantern. You're already carrying your sword.
So, Scout, when this sword is lit up with magic, what do you do?
Witch, magic, oh my gosh,
Yeah, Harper's like, we're Scout, like, shh, like, just so it doesn't get too, like, obvious, even though there's now a glowing sword, but it's like, just give a
Juniper
moment.
uses her magic all day, every day, so she's not sure why Scout is freaking out. Like, you use magic on your farm because it makes your life easier, so why is Scout going, it's what you do, you have it, you use it.
That people in Bluefield aren't magically inclined. That she's
okay.
seen. She doesn't. When she hears about witches who can do magic, she doesn't see people do magic.
You see me cast Crystal Light on the sword because I don't want to steal their lantern.
I mean, above game, aren't at least 3 of you magically capable?
Scout has magic, but she has never used it before.
We still need Galoran to take winter magic, so we have the full year.
Harper
Teach you
doesn't
magic.
tell anyone she can do magic, so...
No, Juniper
Like I said,
literally
above game.
Yeah, no, Juniper literally uses just every day to make her life easier, because why wouldn't you? Did
you think you'd become the party babysitter? Is that what it was? Were you ready for this when you made your character?
You should have been. I'm just glad I'm not the adult. Even though Juniper's 38 and a mother.
Whatever, Scout's the adult of the party. I know what you're talking about.
I don't know that I'd say Scout's the adult of the party, but she's definitely in charge.
Juniper just assumes the universe is speaking to her through Scout, because that's the only possible reason Scout would be the way she is.
She's actually a dragon. She's been the one the whole time.
See, there you go. Makes perfect sense. So we're following the tall man with the glowing sword.
Harper's probably marching up close towards him, but it's almost like a light jog because she's got little legs. But she is trying to march and get there as well.
Juniper's actually pretty tall. She's one of those, farm bred, just tall, well-fed, broad. Gotta wrangle animals.
Powerful.
I have a strength of nothing, but that's not RP.
You can throw a sheep. Who knows about everything else?
Probably accurate.
All right, so
Into the woods.
You make your way back to the edge of town where the river is, and across the river is the forest. There's probably a bridge. Well, I don't know, probably. There's a bridge. Even with the light of the sword, the woods looks dark. And the few stars that are out have slowly gotten obscured with cloud. And as you stand near this bridge, it starts to rain gently. Do you approach the forest?
I think Harper would go to. She would wait to see if people were following her, but she would definitely head towards the forest. Is her home, if anything.
Galaran doesn't stop. She said she wanted to go, and his friend wants to go, so he just keeps walking.
You're muted, Anik.
How's this?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, new mic, who this? I'm getting used to this thing. It's just so fancy and scary. Juniper's going to stop for a second and also going to cast Crystal Light on one of her tools. So she's not just hoping the one with the light stays near her, but has her own light source. And then she'll keep moving into the woods.
Okay.
Because why not?
Scout.
I think Scout will kind of stand towards the edge for a moment and kind of watch the adults walk pretty confidently in there. There's a part of her that really is determined to do this adventuring thing, but there's also kind of that very fear for the first time, kind of like a tingle in her stomach that she doesn't quite recognize. And it's kind of the thoughts of,
do I see her hesitation by any chance?
I'd say you're probably, if you followed with Harper right away, you're out in front, and at this point, Scout's probably the last person in the lineup.
I did say earlier that I was
Juniper might pick it up because she's also casting her light spell and just sort of going, Juniper isn't that sold on going into the big dark forest, but
I did say though I was keeping an eye on us all.
We're staying together.
Like I was looking around at making sure, the big brother type thing.
I think the party would notice Scout was quiet for once.
For once.
I think the immediate silence is deafening.
I'm good. Being a parent in real life, it's that whole peace and quiet. Finally, I can't believe it. And then like 5 minutes later,
it shouldn't be peace.
It's too quiet. What's going on?
Yeah, I think it goes like.
So we don't see her, or we do.
I mean, you can turn back and see her, but she definitely Scout has her moment before you notice, though.
Yeah, and she kind of just takes the moment to watch them all take a few steps forward, so confidently and assuredly. And I think it probably takes her back to when she was probably like 4 or 5, when she watched her parents load up their pack and kind of walk confidently out of town for the last time.
So this seems like Scout, if you're are you having a flashback to this memory, maybe?
I think so, yeah.
Would you like to describe all of this for us all?
So when it came to Scout's parents, they originally probably had their own homestead, something that had a room for children, probably a space, because with Scout being so young, I mean, they intended on growing a family, probably a room with space there for maybe another nursery. And when they would go on their long adventures, they would take her to Mimas. And when she was a little girl, she would be dropped off. Her parents would wave her goodbye and offer to come back with treasures and goodies and gifts, weird trinkets and trash that any toddler would love. And one day, it was probably in the autumn, they turned to leave to go on a simple adventure not too far from home. We'd be back before the first snow. But snow came and snow went, and they never returned. And it took probably until the spring till they were found. And that's when she realized that they weren't coming home, and the space for the nursery wasn't going to be a space. And the home was sold, and she moved in with Mima.
How often does Scout think about that memory?
She probably tries to avoid it at all costs, especially because she doesn't cross the boundaries towards the forest. So this is probably one of those things that hits for the first time in a very long time.
Does it surprise her then how much maybe it still affects her emotionally?
I think so. I think it's one of those things where she doesn't often feel fear or anxiety or discomfort. She's very rush head on without worrying about the repercussions. But I think this is the moment where it feels very real for her.
And then is there anything else you'd like to add before Galaran will turn and see that she's having this moment?
I don't think so.
So Galaran, you turn and you see that Scout's a little hesitant. Maybe you see some emotions play across her face.
So he's gonna turn and kind of just take a breath and just walk up to Scout slowly back to where she is. And he's gonna put the sword in his offhand. He's gonna put his other hand out, reach out to her. He's just gonna go, "You're not the only one who lost a loved one to adventuring. Let us go together at your pace." And he offers his hand for her to take his hand and lead him.
And with her free hand, one holding the stick that almost seems kind of shaking, almost in a realm where she might cry but doesn't, and she takes him by the hand and will walk into the forest with him with kind of like a soft nod.
Lead us on the adventure.
And I think that's where we will wrap this episode as Scout takes Galaran's hand.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, they're just thinking about it, this moment where this big, strong, man with a sword and this little tiny kid with her little stick and weird buttons kind of just takes his hand. I can imagine the darkness, the stars.
Everyone's at Harper's in there. Everyone's gone back. So where is everyone?
She got the book in her hand. She's like,
yeah, Hello? Hello?
Anyone?
Awesome.
Well, Juniper's trying to wrangle a raccoon, a fox, and a donkey.
Awesome.
Well, that was quite the sudden knife to end on. I love it. I love knives. Thank you, Bree, for that.
Everyone loves the knives. Everyone has knives.
I only gave him 9.
So just so people know, I was writing my character's history as we were playing.
Yeah.
I did that. Okay, that's why I'm doing this. Okay, this is fine.
No, it's good. It's
Sending it to
good.
Val the whole time.
Yep.
I created
ahead.
Scout last episode, so like personality-wise.
It works.
Yep. Todd was sending me stuff, and I'm like, I need to copy this because Zoom will go away eventually. Yeah.
Have a safe chat option somewhere.
Yep. I as soon as I was like, oh, Bree's got a knife. Is everyone in Zoom okay? Okay. Is everyone in Twitch chat okay? Okay. We're good.
Awesome.
I don't know how do closing things work. There's credits and stuff, and I don't
Yeah.
know. Alice, you want to take it away?
Don't worry, I got it. Yes, there are credits. You can check everything out there. Otherwise, please check out the links to our Discord and stuff like that. There is a channel purely for this game. We'd love to hear what you think about it. Maybe if you have theories about what this plague type thing is. Also, if you've missed anything, please head over to YouTube. There is a playlist for this show and you can catch up on that. By that, I mean one other show because, yeah. Otherwise, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors who we couldn't do this without, in the form of Hero Forge. You probably saw some of our models there. Set aside a couple of hours. It's addictive. You will be there for ages. Also, Maychan Press. You can pre-order Dark Matter now. It's D&D in space. And if you want to give it a play and you're going to PAX Unplugged, I will be on the booth every day running people through games. And last but certainly not least, the Deck of Many, where you can check out their Humblewood and also their Moving Magic spell cards. So please go check that out. Otherwise, keep evoking emotions, and we'll see you next week.
Also, check out Alice's Patreon. Okay, bye.
Oh my god.
One day you'll remember this yourself.